Okay, let's bring in Dr. Bill. Frozen conflict, Alexander. Frozen conflict. Dr. Bill, are you with us, Dr. Bill?
Yes.
Great to hear from you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's a beautiful day again. And I put a thought when I did my super chat that we have the Washington clown show with Biden becoming more demented all the time. I mean, it's worse than when the first time we talked about it. I don't remember which date that was, but it's getting worse. And then we have the EU clown show. So you take the clown show in Washington and you multiply it by the clown show in the EU, and then you multiply it by the actual clown in Kyiv, and you have clown show cubed.
It's a clown show.
But my thought was, this can't go on like it is. When I went there went to Russia the first time, and was in the first American delegation to visit Crimea after the coup, the group, the whole trip was planned and set up and took off because of how close we were to potential war with Russia. And now it's worse. And Zelensky is in this situation where he's caught between the neocons and the neoliberals in Washington and the Nazis in Kyiv, and he can't do anything. If he does anything, Russia will go all the way to Kyiv and lance this abscess that's in Kyiv to end the whole thing. And the U.S. can't do anything because the Pentagon doesn't want to go to war. And so it'll look awful. And then Zelensky will be able to, since Ukraine is destroyed, he'll be able to just leave and go to Poland and restart his clown show on TV in Poland. And that's potentially possible.
Go
So,
on.
I mean, going off of what Dr. Bill said, Alex, just to ask you a very simple, basic question, and I think I know the answer. Russia doesn't want to go all the way to Kiev, do they? I mean, they have no interest.
Well, what I've seen at the Saker, I mean, they can't, take this forever. And this is the whole great game, and the Zbigniew Brzezinski, Eurasia plan, and it can't come off because now you have the Russia, China, Iran condominium geopolitical alliance, and there's nothing they can do, and the empire doesn't know what to do. From there.
Right. A few things. First of all, I think Dr. Bill's joke about the clowns in Washington, the clowns in the EU, and the clowns in Kiev is absolutely right. And of course, actually, it's very worrying because when you are led by a leadership in Washington that is all over the place, a leadership in the EU that argues over seating arrangements in that ludicrous way, and an actual clown in Kiev, that's exactly the situation where terrible miscalculations and appalling mistakes might be made because you're not being led by serious people who think their options out through. Now, if there's a war, I don't think the Russians at this moment in time want to take over Ukraine. I think that's absolutely something which you're talking to the fight.
I don't think you want to take over Ukraine.
You
want to lance the abscess and leave.
Exactly. I mean, this
Leave
is
it
the
to
point.
the EU.
This is the point, because I mean, if you're talking to people in the finance ministry in Moscow, I mean, they'd be utterly horrified by that idea. They said, we can't possibly at this time afford to reconstruct Ukraine. We're focused at the moment on building up our own economy. But the Russians have said, and this is, Sergei Lavrov has said it, it's now been repeated by other officials. If there is a war, it will destroy Ukraine. Now, what I think they mean by that is, firstly, Ukraine will lose more territory, because the Donbass, in that case, there's no conceivable way that it would be going back. The Minsk agreement would be dead. We would definitely see freedom, a secession on the part of the Donbass republics. And I think ultimately, in a war, I think that the situation would inevitably be the end of the government that exists today in Kiev. Now, I'm not sure quite how it would be done, but I agree. I think the Russians have come to see that government in Kiev as a perpetual threat to themselves and a thorn in their side. I don't know whether they would send all their army there. But bear in mind, if the entire Ukrainian army is obliterated in eastern Ukraine, that could very well trigger a crisis in Kiev, which may very well be what the Russians want. There are all kinds of levers that they could pull, and I suspect that at that point, the whole thing becomes unviable. That is what Lavrov said. He specifically used the term Ukraine would be destroyed, it would destroy Ukraine. We don't know the detail of what he's thinking, of what he means, but I followed Lavrov very closely. I doubt that he's talking out of, saying things that he doesn't know, and that the Russians haven't game planned this by now.
Russians never do that.
Yes, the Russians never do that. Exactly.
All right, great. Dr. Bill, great to see you. Thank you very much for your question.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.